This short PowerPoint video looks at chavs and the underclass and the real threat they have on society. A subculture is defined as a small group in society with the similar values, beliefs, motivations, interests, activities, and thereby media exposure behavior, often being groups that are always around but can change opinions over time. Oxford Dictionary defines a chav as a young person, often without a high level of education, who follows a particular fashion, who hangs around in shopping centres wearing designer labels, who sees wearing branded baseball caps as a status symbol, and if girls wearing big gold jewellery or bling. A chav is a concept that emerged from the media in the late 90s and is a term to describe the underclass, being separated from the rest of society from such speakers like Charles Murray. This group of the British underclass are often seen as being undeserving, dishonest, and feckless. With views from those of Murray and Morris, chavs are stereotyped as being dangerous to society and being a threat to society's social order, with notions that they make poor lifestyle choices and partake in delinquent antisocial behaviour. Murray also stigmatizes this group as being a threat to the ideal nuclear family, with the view many women in this group of the underclass are single parents. Therefore, chavs are seen as being heavily reliant on society and a burden upon it. Labelling theory would suggest here that due to the definition given to this group in the underclass as being deviant and transgressive, what once would have been largely a harmless group of people sharing the same styles and class interests is now a group who seek to transgress and go against rules and laws of society, as they are living up to the label and impression society already has on them. This feeling of alienation from the underclass has pushed them to act up within society, therefore reimposing this idea they are separate from the rest. Such transgressive acts chavs are labelled in partaking include theft, especially with cars, housing crimes, mugging, and scrounging on benefits with never working themselves, so therefore are seen as lazy in the eyes of others. In addition, they are seen to show general antisocial behaviour to anyone not in their collective group, known to shout abuse, vandalise public and private property, and at times act physically aggressive to people who they may think is looking down on them or simply not in their gang, reinforcing their street cred authority. From opinions such as my own, the media coverage on the underclass slyly reprompts the notion to society to have a dislike towards chavs, with shows such as Channel 4's Benefit Street showing the reality of life living on a council street, gets viewers riled up with the fact that whilst a participant is complaining about how little money they have for food, all the time being filmed in front of their big flat screen TV. Additionally, the likes of the Jeremy Kyle show is now the basis of a typical chav with what they look like and situations they are portrayed in, mainly shouting over issues about being on drugs or single mothers declaring the uncertainty of their baby daddy. This reinforcing the view that this group of the underclass are taking part in the alike of illegal or misguided moral power judgments against the rest of society. However, are chavs worth all the worry? Martin claims that this image on the underclass, which is mostly based upon youths, is mostly just a way for society to place blame any problems that the underclass may have on the smooth running of society. So by stigmatizing this group's actions and consumer habits as a threat has made an easy blame, when in fact a high percentage of them are harmless and like any other group that makes up society. Marxists further this by claiming this is a way of hiding any issues the ruling class may have. For example, yes, some chavs may live on benefits, but why is society not worried about the big companies that are not paying their taxes and getting away with not paying thousands of pounds? Instead, the high focus is around the moral panic of knife crime of the underclass. August 2011 enhanced and in many ways furthered the moral panic society has on the underclass with the London riots, with many taking to the streets, looting, stealing, and causing high damage by arson, to many independent-run shops and public property. David Cameron directly placed blame onto the underclass, saying, "A complete lack of responsibility, a lack of proper parenting, a lack of proper upbringing, a lack of proper ethics, a lack of proper morals was the cause of such disturbance to civilization." This did cause controversy with opinions. It is unfair for Cameron to label all those in the underclass as transgressors and uneducated people. Many are just going through hard economic times and trying to get through everyday life like anyone else on a higher income. Additionally, some say that the reason for the outburst was because the underclass felt alienated from society and not part of it, so causing this destruction was a hard way of getting themselves heard. How different are the underclass from those of a higher economic status? A study showed that many are very happy to self-identify themselves as a chav. Maybe because when looking at it, young middle and working class males share some of the same cultural aspirations. They both like to wear certain designer brands, want to be looked as being fun and daring amongst peers, and both partake in drinking. The reason why those from the underclass are seen as deviant can be argued for a number of reasons. For example, chavs are seen drinking and loitering on streets compared to middle-class citizens. Due to a low income, those from the underclass cannot afford big houses or leisure activities to spend their time, so often take to the streets to hang out. Meaning, if there were activities to partake in of a lower cost or free, we may not stigmatize this group as a problem on our streets. To conclude, chavs do have a threatening sense around them. For example, people take the long route home just to avoid any contact with this type of group. However, has this label got stronger since the media turned the underclass into a widespread group known as the chav? I believe society and people of a higher authority should be trying to bring people together, not making us frightened of each other.